welcome to Divinely Design Studio. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reid, and today I'm going to show you how to colour in your All Shall Be Well embroidery and to give it a little bit of colour and make it a pop a little bit. So let's get started. Alright, so before we can start colouring in, we need to trace out our pattern. So you've got your pattern piece here that you got in the free pattern, which you can find over on my website. Okay, and then I've got a light box here, or you can put it up against a window, whatever suits for you. But I've got this little, oh, it's actually a light pad, not a box. So I just place my stitchery piece on that, and then I get a piece, some washi tape, because it doesn't leave any residue. You can use painter's tape or something along those lines if that's what you've got, but I always have washi tape. So I just get a small piece and I just stick it to the top of the pad, and I also stick it to the bottom of the pad, and then that way I know that it's not going to move. The next thing that you need to do is you need to get the piece of fabric that you're going to be working on, and in my case I'm actually working on this mottled cream fabric, as you can see. Alright, and basically all you're going to do is you're going to lay, roughly center it, and sometimes what I do to make sure that it is going to be centered on the fabric is I grab my hoop that I'm going to be using. So in this case I'm using my 10-inch hoop, and I can see that I've got enough fabric on all sides to put it into the hoop. Okay, so I'm good to go. So now all I'm going to do is I'm just going to stick some more washi tape down, and I will just stick that to my mat, and then that's going to hold that spot in place. And then I'll get some more up the top here, put that there, and now I'm going to smooth my fabric out to make sure that it's got no creases or anything like that, or any risk of moving. And then I do the same thing down this end here, making sure that it's nice and smooth, and I pop the tape on. Okay, so now I can turn my light pad on, and I turn it on to the brightest spot that I've got. Okay, and then I'm going to use this micro Pigma pen. Okay, I'm going to use an 01 because it's a nice fine tip, preferably in brown, but my brown has actually run out. It's not working that well and wasn't picking up on the fabric when I done a test. So I've ordered some more of those because I used them quite a bit. So I'm going to use a black today, and I'm using the 01. So this is a really fine tip, and then I'm just going to trace all that out. And basically you just trace your main lines. You don't need to put all the coloured bits in or anything like that you've got on your embroidery, but you just follow the lines and get them as smooth as possible. And just with a light hand, you don't need to press hard. Okay, this will mark your fabric really well, and you want to get them as straight as possible as well, or as curved as possible without going too far out. I mean, your thread is going to cover it, not a problem. And I just use really, like you can see there how fine that tip is, and I just touch the fabric just a little bit, just to give me an idea of the outline. And for my French knots, I just put a dot, but make sure that you can actually see. You might have to do a little bit bigger than just a dot. I'll just turn the light off and I'll show you what it looks like. So you can see there that that's showing up really well. Now your floss, and I'll come in a little bit closer for you, and the floss is going to cover those lines anyway. As I said, I do like to use the brown one a little bit more than I like to use the black one, but as most of this is dark colors anyway, you should be fine. All right, so I'm going to continue on doing that, and when we come back, we'll get ready to start colouring in. Okay, so I have now traced all that out, so I can turn the light off and you can see it all there. All right, now if you're going to colour it in straight away, you need to actually heat press this. So we can get rid of the washi tape now because we've traced everything out. And I'll just put this aside. And I'm going to head over to the ironing board and I'm just going to turn this upside down and I'm going to heat press this. If I was going to do this, say in a couple of hours or something along those lines, I wouldn't worry about it doing that. But because I'm going to be showing you straight away what I'm going to be doing, I need to heat press it. So if you're going to do yours continually on, then you need to do that too. Okay, so that is now heat pressed and I don't have to worry about it coming off or anything like that. The Pigma pens are actually waterproof anyway, so you'll be okay with washing it or if you've got water on it or anything like that. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start colouring in. So there's a few things that you're going to need. You're going to need a pack of crayons. Now I use Crayola because they're a reputable brand. I've used them for many years, and if you use these ones as well, you'll actually have the same colors that I'm going to be telling you. You're also going to need some sort of like blue tack or sticky tack or tack white or anything like that. I use the white one because I can actually see the color if I need to erase it off, and I'll show you how to use that in just a second. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to get out a white crayon. And I just need to give it a little bit of a sharpen. This comes with a sharpener in it, which is great. So you can see there, it's just sharpening it nicely. Okay, now you can see here of all the places that I've put some colour onto it. So wherever I've coloured in, I need to put this down as a base. Okay, this will help it stop it from being streaky. It'll help it blend a little bit better and all that sort of stuff. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to colour in the areas with the white crayon. And you're going to use a circular motion. All right, so I'm just going to start here down with the B, and I'm just going to go in a circular motion, and I'm going to go all over that B. Now don't worry if you go outside the lines, it's okay, because when we heat set it, that will disappear, and most of it's going to be covered up with your floss anyway. So I'm colouring in the flowers and the bees and the leaves. Okay, and you can see there that I'm just going in a circular motion and going all over that area. Now with the white one, I go over the lines a little bit. As I said, it disappears with the when I put heat onto it. Now of course you're not going to go and stick your iron straight on top of it. You're also going to need some paper towel today as well. And that will just help absorb that crayon when we heat set it. For the most part, I stay within the lines, but if you go out, don't stress about it at all. And I just double check that I've got all the area, so you can see here on the flower I've missed a little bit, so I just go back over it again, put a little bit more of that base down. So I guess this is a little bit like, you know, when you're painting, what's it called, gesso? I'm not an artist, my daughter would know what it is, but it's just giving you that base to give you that even surface to go on. I have done it without the white base before, and you do get a few streaks and stuff like that. Like, it still works, but I prefer it not to be streaky. All right. In the pattern, I've given you a list of the colours that I have used, okay, and for the most part, I will say them during this tutorial, so hopefully I won't forget. All right, so that's the white one that you're going to use, so we've put that down as our base. The next thing that we're going to do is we're going to move on to the colours. Now, I've pulled all my colours out already, and as I said, you've got that list there on your pattern, so if you're not sure, and it is referring to the Crayola one, and this has got all your basic colors in, a few different shades of each color as well, so that helps with if you want a more realistic shading and stuff like that. All right, so and as I said, the colors that I refer to are in this box. All right, so the first colors that I'm going to do is I'm going to do the flowers, okay, and for those flowers I used red and also wild strawberry. Now the wild strawberry part I used in the center of the flower, and I just go in a circular motion and I just color in that flower. Now with a very light hand, you do not want to be heavy-handed, so you just want to gently put some color on there. Now you can later on, if you want to add more color in, you can add more color in. Just, you know, treat it like a coloring in book. If you want to put some shading in, put some shading in. If you want to use different colors, use different colors. These are just a guideline for you. And you can see there that I've just lightly touched. So I'm not even really putting any pressure on this. I'm just holding it up the stalk of the crayon and I'm just going in a circular motion. And as I said, don't stress too much if you go a little bit out of the lines. It's okay, because we're going to heat set this. And you can see here that your floss ends up covering it. So it's all good. You don't have to stress about it. All right, so I'm going to do that to all the flowers and just use the same color. As I said, you can mix it up a little bit if you want to. Okay, and just go lightly in a circular fashion and get that color into there. And then over this one. So I've done all these flowers the same, as I'm sure you can see that there. So you can see I've done all them the same. But this is your piece. Work with it how you want to. If you want to use different colors, you go for it. You use different colors. Okay. Now, I don't tend to trace around or anything like that or get heavy-handed with it. If I want a little bit more colour up in the petals, I'll just go over it a little bit more and use it to bring in the depth of the flower. But in this one, it's very cartoonish-like, so I'm not going for all that shading and whatnot. I'm going for that sort of style. Then once I'm finished with the wild strawberry, the outside of those flowers will be then I'll be using the red. And again, I just go in a circular fashion around the flower. And the wild strawberry is like a deep pink. Sort of like a fuchsia color actually. Very close to fuchsia. And you just color that in like so. Very lightly. You don't want to put globs of crayon. Okay. And again, if you want a little bit of depth to it, you can see there that I've put a little bit of darkness around those flowers just near the edges. And that's just giving me a little bit of shading. Okay, and continue on. And you can do each flower different. You don't have to have them all in the red. You can do each one different color scheme. That's up to you. But, you know, play around. And if you're not happy with a color, say you've gone and you've picked up the wrong color and you've gone and put that down, well, that's an easy fix. Basically, you just get this blue tack or tacky tape, I think it's called. It's called a different sort of names. Okay, and I just get a little bit off at a time. Break a little bit off. Yeah, I've got one here that I've just used for dark colours, and I just keep that separately. I'll get a new piece today and I'll show you what happens. So say you've put something in the wrong spot, okay, and you don't like that there. You just move it around and you can see there that it pulls the colour off, and you can see it's gone from there as well. Okay, so if you make a mistake, as long as you haven't heat set it, you'll be fine. Okay, so if you don't like a colour combination that you've done, you can always pull the colour off. Now, the one thing I will say is you will need to put some more white down because it takes all of it off. So just add some white down and then you can continue on in a circular fashion. Put some of the pink down too. And I'll just keep going. And it's that easy. Okay, so the next colour that we're going to do is I'm going to work on the leaves, and I used for the leaves, I used for the green one I used Robin Egg Blue, and for the blue one I used Beautiful. And I can see there that I don't have enough white up on this one up in here, so I'll just colour that a little bit more. And then again, just in that circular fashion. Okay, so the next colours that we want to do is for our bee's wings and the bee. Now, I used black for mine, but if you are a little bit scared to use the black, you just have to remember, keep a very light hand, and a little goes a long way. And you want to get that circular motion. So if you look closely here, I haven't got that circular motion quite well as I should have on that bee, and it is there's a little bit of a streak there. I'm not too fussed about it. You know, it's a handmade item, and sometimes things don't always go to plan. So just make sure that you use a very light hand. It is black. If you're a little bit scared to use the black, then I would suggest you go with a dark grey, maybe the darkest grey that you can get. Okay, and just go in that circular motion. So you can see there that I've got it going up and down as opposed to the side, because I've got a flat edge on the tip of it, of the crayon. And all I did for that was I just, on a piece of paper, flattened the edge off. You can do it on your box if you need to. And then I'm just going to lightly, like it's just touching the fabric. Okay, and it's just going to put a light shading. Now the last thing we've got to do is our wings. So the wings are in two different colors. So as you can see here, even with the floss, there's two different colors. So the front wing is light and the back wing is dark. So anything that when you're, and I'm just taking this from art classes that I've seen and like heard that my daughters had playing in the background, anything that's in the foreground is going to be a lighter color, and I'm sure a lot of my artist friends will correct me if I'm wrong, and anything that has like a shadow over it or it's to the back is a little bit darker. So I've played that here. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. As I said, I'm no artist, but I've played that here, and you can see here that we've got a light wing and a dark wing. So that's the illusion that I'm trying to give. So we've got two different greys here. We've got a silver, which isn't grey, it's silver, and then we've got timber wolf out of this. So that's just a little bit slightly darker than the silver. All right, so for the front wing, and you know, you can see by the placement chart where it is and all the rest of it. And if you need some guidance, you can always look at the cover of the pattern, and this picture will be there, so you'll be able to see it. So again, I'm just going to go in a circular motion, and I'm going to put some color down. Okay, and I'm going to do all the front wings first, and that's in the silver. So when I'm saying a front wing, it's the wing closest to the bee's head. Okay, and I just put a little bit of that in. And I don't go too heavy-handed with that, just a little bit, it goes a long way. And then for the back one, I'm just going, which is near the back of the bee, I'm just going to use the tip, because it is a darker color, it might smudge a little bit, and I'm going to stay within those lines. These two colors are very similar, but one is slightly darker than the other one. So, you know, put a little bit of color into that back one. All right. so that is all the colouring that we've got to do. The rest is all done with embroidery stitches, and so we can put our crayons away now, and what we need to do is grab the iron and an ironing pad and some paper towel, and I'll show you what we do next. Okay, so I've got my iron and I've got my ironing pad underneath it, so I've got it all set up and ready to go. And lucky for me, this is only a 10-inch pattern that I'm working with, so it fits nicely on my ironing pad underneath there. So you can, when you feel it, you can feel that it's all smooth, and you can feel the crayon on there. So now what we're going to do is going to get some of that excess off. So it's going to lighten up a little bit, but once you put your thread around, it'll outline it and it'll bring it to the forefront like you can see here. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is we just need to place our paper towel down. Okay, and you want to have your iron set on linen. Okay, so where's my linen? There it is there. And my iron's all ready to go. So then all we're going to do, keeping our paper towel in place, we are going to heat set this. I'll leave it on place for about 10 seconds just to get that crayon to heat up a little bit, and that will pull off the excess. Doesn't pull off much, but it does pull off some, and that white will blend with it as well, and if you've gone outside the lines, it'll completely disappear and end up on the paper towel. So I'll just pull this back and you should be able to see some of the colour. Bring it up a bit closer so you can see there that it's got the colour where we've done that, and you can see it's started to blend it a little bit better. So you can see the face again, and the lines are a little bit clearer, and the center of the flowers. It still has some more in there, so I can see in the leaves there's still some more in there. So I'm going to get that going again. So each time you do this, you need a separate piece of paper. Okay, and again, we're just going to put our iron on. And I generally do this 4 times. Just to make sure. It's probably a little bit of overkill, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. And again, I just peel that off, and not too much come off that time. There's a little bit for the leaves, not too much that you can see, but I'm going to give that another going over. And you can see on those blue leaves now, you can actually see those lines again. So whereas before they disappeared, and now they are reappearing again, and you can feel that there's a lot of the crayon has left the fabric now, but it's left that pigment there. You probably will be able to smell some of the crayon as well. It does have a funky smell when you add heat to it, so don't panic, it's just the crayon. Okay, and just make sure that you throw those paper towels away because they've got the crayon on it. I would hate for you to put it on another project and get crayon all over it, because it will transfer over to something else. Not heavily, but it still will be there, and you don't want to run that risk. All right, this is the last time. As I said, I do this usually 4 times, 3 at the minimum, but I always like to give it that just one extra go and make sure that it's all off. And when you feel it, you will feel that it's really smooth as well. And it doesn't change the fact that you're going to be stitching through it or anything like that. You'll still be able to stitch just fine. All right, I think we're done. Okay, so while that is cooling down, you can see there that that has set quite nicely. I haven't lost any of the things, so you need to use your Pigma ink for that, because it is a permanent ink and it won't disappear when you iron it. And when you feel it, you can feel that it's feeling nice and smooth, and now you're ready to start your embroidery. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. I really do hope that you enjoyed the tutorial on how to use crayons to colour in your embroidery. As I said in the tutorial, you do need to have a light hand when you're doing it and work in a circular motion, and you will get the same results that I've got here. So I'm going to leave you with it, and now you'll be able to start your stitching. And don't forget to share all your stitching goodness all across social media so we can see what you're up to. And again, thank you so much for joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, give us a thumbs up down below, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and the little bell icon beside it it, and then that way you won't miss out on any future posts. For those that don't know, my name's Nicole Reid for Divinely Design Studio, and I'll see you all again next time. Bye for now.